go to the ring and we get ready to go. That is the main event, but we start off with the tail of the tape as we've got 3 fights coming your way tonight on Fox. First of 3 straight weeks of boxing as well that we're offering to you. Alberto Puello is 19-0, 27 years old, taking on VeShawn Owens, who is 30 years old, a bit taller at 5'10". He is 13-2. He's lost when he has stepped up, but we expect a good, strong challenge here as well. Let's go to the ring and get the official introductions with Miguel Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Armory here in Minneapolis, Minnesota for Fox PBC Fight Night. It is all brought to you by TGB Promotions and Warriors Boxing. We'd also like to welcome our military men and women watching on the American Forces Network. Our opening bout tonight is 10 rounds in the super lightweight division. Our 3 judges scoring ringside are Lynn Carter, Tim Cheatham, and Tim Taggart Sr. The referee in charge of the action is Harvey Dock. And now introducing first in the red corner, wearing the gray, white, and black trunks, he weighed in at an even 142 pounds. His record stands 13 victories, including 12 by knockout, opposite of 2 defeats. Fighting right here out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, presenting VeShawn Owens. And now introducing his opponent across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the black with white trim. He weighed in at 142 1/2 pounds. His record stands unblemished, 19 victories, including 10 by knockout and no defeats. Fighting out of Santo Domingo, República Dominicana, presenting Alberto La Avispa Puello.
Guys, we received our instructions earlier. As a reminder, be my community at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Took those ones. When it's with. No, those are
Closed captioning is available for tonight's telecasts. And if you'd like to hear the broadcast in Spanish, you can click over to the simulcast on the Fox Deportes app. Alberto Puello, 19-0, 27 years old, now living in Las Vegas, coming out of the Dominican Republic, making his United States debut. Going up against that man, VeShawn Owens, who has stepped up before. Actually had a big fight, stopped by Sebastian Fondora, the 6'4" junior middleweight in 2018. So a big challenge here once again. You have A-side, B-side, but B-side looks, Joe Goosen, pretty rugged, and we can expect some decent stuff here.
VeShawn Owens is very aggressive. Again, he's only lost to 2 guys, okay? Cordell Booker and right, I saw that. And Sebastian Fondora, both left-handers. He's fighting a left-hander tonight. And this left-hander, Puello, is very slick. He's very cute. He throws a nice straight left hand to the body. He's got great head movement, great legs. He's very tricky. And he's undefeated right now at 19-0 with 10 knockouts. So, you know, VeShawn's going to have to be aggressive, but he's also going to have to be accurate. He's also going to have to, you know, land punches that are meaningful, and that's not an easy thing to do against Puello.
Well, Joe, he's not only aggressive, he's excited. I mean, rarely do you see a guy spin himself around like that, but he was able to gather himself, and he's back in it, but he's fired up.
Yeah, well, he put everything behind that punch, the momentum. You know, he did a little pirouette, but you know, he'll settle down. He'll look for the openings, and he's like I said, he's aggressive.
Yeah, but there's one thing. He's definitely
4 straight and 3 by knockout. Go ahead, Lennox.
No, I was saying he's got to keep those feet under him and make sure his balance is right for him to score any points and look good in this fight. He doesn't want to look too raggedy.
Yep.
And he's up against an opponent that is pretty tentative. He's poised and he's patient, and the patience is going to work for him.
Puello has been looking to step up in class. He's been talked about as a possible opponent for Gervonta Davis. He's taken on quite a bit. He was scheduled to fight Frances Bartolome in the original date for Fury Wilder 3. So he's been looking to step up. Again, 19-0. This is his U.S. debut. Not quite sure, but his name is started to make the rounds with some big names.
Yeah, you can see right off the bat, VeShawn is putting a lot of pressure on, and if you didn't have the type of movement that Puello's got right now, and the type of, eyes and athleticism, you'd probably be receiving some of those punches. But Puello right now is being very elusive, and he's whipped in a couple of straight left hands. He whipped in a nice left uppercut to the belly, which he likes to go to. He dropped a hook while stepping back. He knows what he's doing. He's a good, talented boxer, and VeShawn is really gonna have to do something special to get to him.
Wow, good left hand by Puello. Able to rock Owens there in the final seconds of round number 1. Owens tries to answer back, eats a hook off the side of the head. We've got action in the first round.
Welcome back. Well, VeShawn Owens said he's finally feeling like himself again. Back in 2018, he said it was the most difficult year of his professional career. In fact, he said he probably should have taken that year off to get some mental health help. In terms of what happened, well, you mentioned that Sebastian Fundora fight, Brian, and actually right before that fight he had lost his grandfather and his aunt in a house fire. Their funeral was the night before that fight. He decided to proceed with that bout because they were big supporters of his, and he thought that's what they would have wanted him to do. He said it was really tough. His coaches he attributes to being a big support system for him. They're like family. He doesn't call them coaches. He calls them his big bro and his dad, and he is now a big mental health advocate for the city of Minneapolis. Brian?
Heidi, thank you. That's just so difficult to even imagine how hard it is to get your mind right to go into a big fight. Not only that, but think about that we're fighting just over the super lightweight limit at 140 pounds. He's fighting Joe Goosen, Sebastian Fundora at 154. He's also 6'5", 6'6". I mean, he's two weight classes up, fighting the largest guy ever to be in that weight class. So, watching that fight, yeah, he was overmatched, and going up against all these other personal things that are, you can't even imagine how difficult that had to be.
Yeah, look, I mean, he showed a lot of courage to get in the ring with Fundora, who's more like 6'7", I tell you the truth. He's the biggest guy you've ever seen for that weight, and a southpaw to boot. And right now, Puello, I got to tell you, Puello is looking sharp right here. He landed some good left hands at the end of that first round, and as much as VeShawn is trying right here, Puello just is really slick. Even when he got pinned on the ropes, he was very slick about a couple of nice counter punches. Put those earmuffs on, Puello did, and waited for the right opportunity and countered. Looks like there's an elbow to the eye and a cut on the right eye of VeShawn Owens right now. That could be trouble.
Elbow. Yep. Where's my dot? Where's my dot? Over here. Right here. We got an accidental elbow. Accidental elbow. Accidental. Okay. All right.
Well, that's in a bad spot, clearly. It's not enough to stop the fight on its own, but Lennox, it does present now a target, an additional target for Alberto Puello.
It does, and VeShawn, obviously it bothers him, and he can't let it bother him. As long as there's no blood going in his eye, he should be okay.
Right, and Brian, to your point about being in a bad area, in actuality, because I've worked with a lot of guys that get cut, have gotten cut. The end of the eyebrow there is probably the most favorable, instead of something that's centered right over the eye or in the eyelid itself. So if it's off to the edge, it'll normally drip off to the side of your face and not directly in the eye. So that, if there's any silver lining, that's it to this cut.
Beautiful uppercut by Puello, and Joe, it's a good point. In other words, you're saying it could be worse, right? It could be worse. It's not good.
And Brian, it was
not fight ending.
It wasn't a headbutt. It was a headbutt. It wasn't an elbow.
We'll look back on the tape as well. We'll take a second look at it here as we get back into the second round here. Final 30 seconds of this fight. And again, Puello, by the way, 2 fights prior, was able to stop his opponent with a body shot in the final seconds of the 6th round. So we've seen some wicked body work, and Joe, he's been sharpshooting already through these first 2 rounds.
Correct.
Owens firing back, forcing Puello back into the corner as we end round number 2 and the cut over Owens' eye.
Come with your right uppercut, come with the left.
Back in Minneapolis, and you can see they've done a nice job on VeShawn Owens already closing up that cut.
Yeah.
And that was, as Lennox Lewis mentioned, we watched back on the tape here, fellas, and that did right there from a headbutt.
Absolutely. Well, VeShawn Owens is putting on a lot of pressure, and you know that can happen when you're a little out of control, and you know really trying to force yourself on another guy, and they butted heads, and that's what happened. It wasn't an elbow. The replay showed that it was clearly a headbutt, accidental though.
Right.
And VeShawn,
Another nice body shot from Puello. Puello is throwing beautiful shots. Owens aggressive throughout. Again, this is a guy who has won 4 straight, 3 by knockout. And again, he is a local fighter, so he wants to put on the best possible performance. But he is fighting a more highly skilled professional. That much is clear already through 2 rounds.
Correct. And, you know, let it be said that, you know, a lot of trainers will tell you that when you have right-handers that are aggressive like this against southpaws, because southpaws will slip to their left side a lot, and that's the side the head is coming in from a right-hander, and there are a lot of collisions because of those style differences. So that's pretty much what happened in that instance right there.
And Puello again from the Dominican Republic. And again, we've seen the fight from the Dominican Republic already here tonight on FS1 earlier. If you're watching us there, Hector Luis Garcia. He's 13-0, now 14-0 with a win earlier tonight. But many of these fighters, got a nice left hand by Puello.
Yeah.
A lot of these fighters from the Dominican Republic get a little later start by the time they come out of the amateur ranks and turn professional. So, you know, you wonder how proven are they as compared to their records. And what we've seen tonight is Garcia was outstanding, and Puello looks outstanding.
yeah, Puello is he's throwing the right combinations. You know, he knows the guy's coming in on him, so he has to throw those left uppercuts, and he's knowing he's coming in with aggression, so he has to throw that hook as well to get him off center.
That's exactly right. He threw those two left uppercuts, kind of like bolo punches into the belly, followed up with the hook. He's been very accurate. You see where Puello's dipping his head on the inside too. You know, this will cause these type of headbutts and stuff. So this may not be the last time we see them butting heads in this fight.
And Puello with a beautiful right-hand combination. I mean, all off the same arm as well. That looked low from Owens. But Puello, again, there's real class to this young man, Joe.
There is. You can tell he's well-schooled. And I like how Harvey Dock, the great referee Harvey Dock, called that low blow right away. Unfortunately, for Puello, he did it right in front of Harvey Dock, and that did straight low. But that being said, he is a very slick fighter. You're right. Look at that left uppercut he just delivered there. The jab, the left
Just
hand.
wicked, Joe. Yeah. I mean, smooth and wicked coming off hard shots from Puello. I'm almost surprised, Joe, 10 knockouts out of 19 wins. I'd expect a better ratio, actually, the way he's throwing.
Yeah, well, he's probably fighting talented guys over there in the Dominican Republic. They're well schooled there.
And they're raring to go as VeShawn Owens. He's kind of in that, I don't know, fullback stance.
Yep.
Trying to get after Alberto Puello, but Puello is not there to be hit. As well, making his United States debut out of the Dominican Republic, now lives in Las Vegas. And you see he has outlanded VeShawn Owens 42-25. We're underway in round number 4. Brian Kenny, Lennox Lewis, Joe Goosen, along with Heidi Androl and Larry Hazard doing our unofficial scoring. And Joe, Larry's been busy tonight, so I don't know if he's going to be as busy throughout the evening, but we put him to work on FS1.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think he'd have it any other way.
Scoring issues. Sometimes things are smooth and sometimes they're not. You never know.
Absolutely. But, you know, to get him back to this real quick, Brian, you know, VeShawn Owens is very aggressive, and he's taking whatever Puello's throwing at him and still trying to get his point across, and he's he's getting closer and closer doing that. And his corner, I just want to give his corner Adonis and Greg Frazier and my old buddy Tony Rivera, the cut man, they're really pushing him hard in the corner right now. And in the other corner, you got Bob Santos, Ishmael Santos again, and Ed Jackson, my old buddy Ed Jackson, which we call Jack. And you got two great corners facing each other with two different style fighters, but two very highly skilled guys.
VeShawn Owens, you know, he's got a lot of heart in this fight, but he's just not doing the right things. I mean, you know, he's in close, he's working when he's in close, but he needs to move that head side to side and keep that balance and try and throw some body shots and hooks in there.
Yeah, he's absorbing Lennox good shots from Puello on leverage too. He's able to get his body behind it and throw some wicked shots right off the head and the body of Owens.
You know, you got to remember, VeShawn Owens has 12 knockouts in his 13 wins. So, you know, a couple good punches could turn this around for him. Look, he's grinding. He's not giving up on his strategy, which is just seek and destroy right now. And, you know, he could be successful. We've seen it before. Although, right
Straight
now...
up the middle, yeah, from Puello.
Puello's leading the cards right now, obviously.
And he's making it really easy for Puello because of the fact that his body is over the center and his weight is forward. So, you know, he's off balance when he's throwing these punches. And I'm talking Owens.
Yeah, you can see him leaning forward throughout this fight, Lennox. You're right, and that leads things to that uppercut. And there it is. Beautiful left-hand uppercut from Puello. He throws that beautiful. Another right uppercut this time.
Yeah, exactly. He's very well skilled. He's very well skilled. And then when everything else fails, Puello just leans on the top of Owens and pushes him downwards and stops the whole process and then restarts it again.
VeShawn Owens trains in the Circle of Discipline gym here in Minneapolis with Jamal James, who's an outstanding welterweight, and David Morrell, who's in our main event. Welcome back to Minneapolis, Minnesota. VeShawn Owens going after Alberto Puello. Puello, seemingly the more skilled fighter. I'm trying to be kind here, but he is a level above. But Owens with all sorts of grit. And he was a very good amateur fighter. Had 105 amateur wins, only 17 losses. Was a 4-time Minneapolis Golden Gloves champion. But he's up against a world-class fighter here tonight. Let's see if he's taken any rounds at all. Let's go to Larry Hazard. Larry, what do you have?
Well, Brian, you said it all right there. I got Puello ahead 40-36, 4 rounds to 0. He's won every round. You know, Puello's one of these rangy type guys, and Owens is making it easy for him because he's walking straight in a straight line. If Puello starts to sit down on some of those shots and go to the body, you know, I think he'll slow him down and possibly even stop him. But I got him ahead comfortably, 40-36 after 4 rounds.
Larry, thank you for scoring good analysis as well. Yeah, Owens, as Lennox mentioned as well, you know, is making it easy on Puello, but that's the way he fights. Lennox, how difficult would it be to try to change your style or what you do best against this opponent?
Well, not at the moment, because what he needs to do is go back to the gym and practice the balance aspect, because his weight's way too forward and he's making it, like you said, easier for Puello to hit him and, you know, really get into his body shots and combinations and maybe throwing them a little bit straighter instead of, you know, all really wide and not really, he's not really doing no impact with his punches. They're not really doing anything.
Beautiful combination by Puello there, but what really stands out is that uppercut. Look, it's not, the uppercut's making a comeback, Joe Goosen, with Gervonta Davis, clearly, but Puello has a wicked uppercut with both hands. How about that?
Yeah, again, well-schooled. Look, a well-schooled fighter is going to have a variety of punches. You got to, you know, when the wide stuff fails, you know, guys, you know, put their guard up, you got to go up the middle. And this is exactly what Puello is doing and what well-schooled fighters do. They go up the middle when they're being blocked off on the sides. So he's capable of doing this. He's been taught this. He's practiced it, and he's really good at it. And right now, you know, VeShawn Owens is he's just being very rudimentary. He's trying to force his will on Puello, and it's just not working right now. Well, let's see if it wears Puello down in the next few rounds, but it looks doubtful.
Yeah, plus Owens is, you know, his punches are ill-effective. You know, he's not throwing any punches that are affecting Puello, and having him worry about anything. All he's doing is walking in with his hands up and just throwing tip-top shots.
Hands are free. Let go.
Owens moving straight ahead. Again, he continues to move forward, but without really any success. Puello just putting a hurting on Owens round by round. Points to the back of his head, but he put his head down there. Puello just continues to batter. Hey, by the way, this week in boxing history, you don't have to go back that far, 1995. This was his second fight after being released from prison. Mike Tyson, of course, took on Peter McNeely first, and then took on Buster Mathis Jr., and took out Buster Mathis in the third round of that fight. That was right here on Fox in front of 43 million viewers. At the time, Fox's highest rated night of programming ever, and also as a build-up, had a one-on-one conversation with John Madden.
How did you feel when you won the championship? I mean, you were so young then to be the heavyweight champion of the world.
I was just so confident. I knew I was going to win. It was really no big issue. You have to understand, I'm from an honorary school, from being around custom model and coming from Brooklyn, New York. I was honorary. I knew I was going to win that title. I had no other choice but to win that title.
In New York, I used to watch all the time when you first turned pro. And you just walk in the room, bam, bam, you'd knock out someone and go out. And I'd say, this guy, I've never seen anything like this guy.
Well, you know, I'm doing what God gave me the ability to do. Fight my butt off. I'm not going to be denied.
Tyson probably could still do 43 million viewers. I mean, he did pretty well in his last pay-per-view in his 50s. But Joe, 43 million on Fox. So boxing seems to be popular. If we can put it together right, it seems to be pretty popular.
Well, in '95 there wasn't a lot of cable out. I know there was cable out there, but that was Tyson.
Cable?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, not like there is today. There's a proliferation of it. What I'm saying is, back then also Tyson was a worldwide phenomenon at that point, and you know, everybody was a fan at that point. You know. But that being said,
well, it's a fractured, it's a fractured media universe, Joe. I know what you're saying here as we get into round 6 with Puello and Owens, but there's no question. However, it points out that a top fighter can captivate the imagination of the world. And it is just a little history lesson going back only to 1995, not 1895, 1995. 43 million viewers on Fox.
See, that was my problem. I was thinking 1895. Sorry.
Me too, Joe.
in the meantime, Puello, there was an exceptional thing that happened in the ring here while we were looking at that and talking. Puello made a great spin move on Owens, and Owens was way out of position, and Puello landed a straight left hand downward and hit him on the side or back of the head, and it really stunned Owens, and he put himself in that position to get hit with that, unfortunately, but it really did some damage to Owens. And Harvey Dock just moved him forward and said, get back to work, because Owens tried to complain about it for a minute, but it was just a great move by Puello.
Yeah, and Owens is getting drilled on the way in, and his reflexes have started to slow, as would any human being taking this type of punishment. Puello is just sharpshooting Owens on the way in.
That was a nice shot by...
Body shot again.
A nice shot by Owens, at least. He was kind of in a southpaw position, threw a right hand to the body and chopped one to the chin. One of the rare times he's caught Puello flush. Ooh. So he's going to complain of a low blow there. And Harvey Dock's not having any of it. He said that was right on the belt line. And boy, Puello's taking advantage of that now.
Yeah.
That body shot hurt.
Back-to-back left hands by Puello again, and now going to the head. And he is going to the body and then the head, just beautifully spinning out and creating some space. Puello in total command, and now in getting his range as well.
Yeah, and look at Puello. He's dipping to the left, he's dipping to the right on the ropes. You see that? That's old school stuff right there. And then he's countering off of that. That's what he's capable of. He's really good. All right,
back in Minneapolis, Alberto Puello and VeShawn Owens. Go ahead, Joe. Take a close look here.
This is what I was talking about earlier. This is what I was talking about earlier. Puello slipped a right hand. VeShawn Owens got turned. Here we go. And then he got hit right in the back of the head. But again, it's protect yourself at all time. It wasn't a rabbit punch. It was a turn. Now, it doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. I don't like getting hit in the back of the head. But it was one of those coincidental instances where Owens put himself in that position by missing that punch and getting turned and not slipping or getting under the comeback punch. He got hit in the back of the head. It's a touchy situation there.
And the referee was in the right position to see that punch, that it wasn't really that effective, so he let the fight go on.
Well, I have to say this. Owens reacted to it quite poorly. He rubbed the back of his head, and as I watched him walk away, he was kind of shaking his head. It buzzed him. He get hit in the back of the head, Lennox. You know better than anybody. If you hit someone there or get hit there, you're very vulnerable back there. That's why we don't allow rabbit punches beyond the head, because you don't have a lot of protection back there. You don't have the forehead and the bone structure to protect you. There is none of that back there.
And the first rule of boxing is protect yourself at all times.
Exactly. And that's why Harvey Dock, is one of the great referees. He called it for what it was. I don't like seeing it, but that will happen if you don't protect yourself when you get spun like that.
Puello is just in the pocket right now. Round 7 scheduled for 10. And Alberto Puello in the black trunks has the distance. At times he's able to drop his hands and not feel like he's in any danger. You see right there, able to move his head, spin around, and still land his own shots. Yeah. And again, his featured shot is the uppercut, and he's got power in both hands.
Yeah, he's feeling so comfortable right now, Brian, with his defensive prowess. He's slipping, he's turning, he's moving hands around in there. He just feels like he owns VeShawn Owens right now. And not because VeShawn Owens isn't trying. He's trying hard, and he's a tough guy. But this guy, Puello, is just one of those slicksters that you never want to face. On top of that, he's a slick southpaw. And that's another example right there, that uppercut hook, spin move, back to the body. Hey,
Joe, we call it boxing IQ. He's got better boxing IQ.
He does, but he's also, you can have a high IQ, but you have to be trained to do these things, He's got the athleticism, but he's been trained well, You just don't grow up, with these things. You have to be trained to make those type of moves, and boy, he's really, not everyone can absorb that type of training, but he has.
Final seconds of round number 7. There's no question, this is quite a United States debut for Alberto Puello. He's very sharp against, an opponent who has a lot of grit, a lot of spunk.
Yep.
But is unable to have success so far. Alberto Puello, 19-0. Looking smooth so far here tonight against VeShawn Owens. Our next fight, by the way, Jose Valenzuela. Don't miss that. An outstanding young fighter with heavy hands and brutal combination punching. He'll take on Austin DeLay. And then the main event is David Morrell and Alontes Fox. Morrell, one of the top super middleweights in the world. Round 8, scheduled for 10, Brian Kenny. Lennox Lewis, Joe Goosen, Heidi Andro, Larry Hazard as well. Here we've been busy tonight in Minnesota. And a good, crisp action in the United States debut of Alberto Puello.
Yeah, I think
one-sided, perhaps. We don't think Owens has taken a single round, but spirited nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think he's even proven better than we might have thought he was. And a little shout out, if I might, Mark, to Brian, to Mark Ortiz and Ortega and Justin Goodman for all their great work and stats and everything else they've thrown by us tonight. I've got more homework than I got from Sister Gabriel at St. Francis de Sales, but I really want to thank them because they really provided Mark Ortega and Justin Goodman us with a lot of great stats.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree.
Do outstanding work. I'm sure they've taken a ruler to your hands as well, like the sisters did.
No, I got that a few times. No doubt.
It was a different era, kids. Joe grew up in a very different era. Right. Body work here by Owens, pinning up Puello against the ropes. As Owens looks not as sturdy as he did in the early rounds, which is understandable given the punishment he's taken. Well, still moving forward, still pressing the action.
And still head down, which is still working for him.
Right.
And to your point, Lennox, when I asked you what can you do, you said for tonight, essentially you're saying you can't. There's nothing you can do tonight. There's something you can do back in the gym next fight, but it's not going to happen this evening. It's basically what you're saying.
Right. Basically, he's developed a bad habit, and he has to undo that habit. You can't undo it in the night's fight. You got to do it in the gym.
Watch these body
Hard
shots.
body shots from Puello, withering shots, and then a right hook to the head as Owens is just getting beaten down.
Yeah, see, that's what.
Again, Puello has a one-shot knockout with a body shot 2 fights ago. He is fully capable of doing that.
That's what we call whipping in body shots. He is whipping those things in. They got a lot of thrust on them and a lot of momentum. You get hit square in the belly on those. Sometimes you'd rather be hit to the chin than a shot like that to the solar plexus or midsection. A lot of fighters will tell you that.
Owens, again, very tough, able to withstand that, but the crowd groaned when they heard those body shots. They're not even cheering, just groaned.
Yeah.
Final seconds, and Owens is still standing. Brian Kenny back here with you on Fox, and as I mentioned, Jose Valenzuela is coming up next. He'll take on Austin DeLay, who's a pretty good fighter as well. 14-2 out of Nashville, Tennessee, but Valenzuela, a power-punching phenom. Joe, I just love the way he fights. I mean, he plants and fires. Hard hitter. There's DeLay. We've seen him a number of times before, and he makes a good account of himself. He's fought well against top fighters like Diego Magdaleno. He was stopped by Chris Colbert. But again, if he's not facing championship-level competition, perhaps it'll be different. But Valenzuela, Joe, is special. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, Valenzuela's actually taking on the more experienced guy here because he's fought the better fighters. DeLay. And the other thing is Valenzuela's fighting a southpaw tonight too in DeLay. And let me tell you, early on, DeLay can be really fast, really quick, and he's going to try to maybe catch Valenzuela off guard early in this fight. But the farther the fight goes, I think the more it favors Valenzuela for sure.
Round 9 scheduled for 10, and in the previous round, Alberto Puello just with a withering body attack. Again, I mentioned the crowd just groaned as they watched those shots land. It's been all Puello all night.
Harvey Dog almost got clipped with the left hook by VeShawn Owens on the break. He didn't listen, and Harvey, chastised him for that.
Hands are free.
Harvey moved his head pretty well too.
Yeah.
Quick. You gotta stay quick and in and out. He's good on his feet, Harvey. You can tell.
Yeah. Look, he's in shape. I wish I was sweating like Harvey right now because it's freezing in here.
Puello doesn't need to stay on the ropes. He can turn him around a little bit more.
Look at that.
Stop.
It is funny, as we watch Doc now, and as we pointed it out, he is in top shape. And by the way, I'm making a little light of this, but the referee's footwork is vitally important. When you watch a great referee, whether, Arthur Mercanti Sr., for example, it's like a ballet dancer in there, and you see the great referees can move, and Doc is one of those guys, Joe. Another hard body shot by Puello.
Especially when you've got somebody that can move backwards like Puello, you never know where he's going to end up on a spin or a step back. You got to be quick on your feet, and Harvey is in good shape. I've seen him. I really think he's one of the top referees out there.
Puello going to work combinations, landing on Owens' face and body.
Quick!
You see the punches landed in favor of Puello, 154 to 72, doubling up in the results, and hard shots as well. He's not feather dusting him out there. Puello looks fresh too. Joe, Lennox, he looks like he could keep going and going.
Yeah, this is been a one-sided fight, albeit he's got the work to make it one-sided. Puello, it's not that VeShawn is making it easy for him. He's not, but Puello's talent is such that he's just in a rhythm right now that can't be broken.
And I love his check right hook. The check right hooks is what he needs to be throwing a lot more of, because what it does, it gets Owens off of that straight line and knocks him to the side.
Yeah, combination, how he slipped under the counter punch by VeShawn Owens. I mean, he compacted himself to about 3 feet off the ground. It was really nice stuff.
More good work by Puello. We we get ready for the final round.
Yeah, I will actually be in your neck of the woods for real this time.
my neck of the woods, right? Which you would describe Boston as my neck of the woods, which is not true.
Right,
yes,
right.
Newark, that is the neck of the woods.
Right. And of course, Larry Hazard's neck of the woods too, Professor Hazard.
That's right.
Right.
Famer Larry Hazard with us, and superstar in New Jersey, and again, Christmas Day boxing. By the way, Joey Spencer on that card too, so we get those young, exciting fighters in New Jersey and on Christmas Day, Christmas night. Here, round number 10, Alberto Puello in the black trunks putting a beating on VeShawn Owens, who has fought with spirit, with everything he has, who just does not have enough to deal with Puello.
Well, and he just jumped in with a right hook and caught Puello a little bit. You know, he's not giving up. He's not being deterred, even though he's absorbed some horrendous punishment to the body and head. I'll tell you, he's one tough guy. Anything less than a guy like Puello in front of him tonight, and I think VeShawn would be victorious because he's in great shape. You know, just the testament that he's taken this type of punishment, and look at the pressure he's putting on it. If you were anything less than the slickness of Puello, he's probably winning the fight tonight.
He wants it, Joe. I mean, it's clear. It's just the difference in skill.
Yeah.
Is just such that he cannot make, and you saw Larry Hazard's cards. We don't have to go back to Larry because Larry's just given every single round to Puello. It's obvious.
Yep.
But he's still not giving up. He's still working hard, which is good. You know, you go out and you still put in the work, and he's putting in the work.
And don't forget, Brian. You know, Puello came from the Dominican to Las Vegas. He's training with the great, I say great, Ishmael Salas. He really is. Bob Santos and Ed Jackson, who's one of the great strength coaches, the number one. He worked with Diego Corrales with me for a number of years. He was always the backbone of my training camp, Ed Jackson. I love him to death, and so they got a great team. Puello's got a great team behind him, no doubt about it.
Oh, he's going to make some noise. I mean, he looks every bit a top 10 fighter right now.
Yeah.
More body shots by Puello as well. And again, he's living in Las Vegas. He'll get better sparring. Again, this is his U.S. debut.
Yeah.
Usually that's a step up in competition, and it's difficult. It has not been especially difficult for Puello tonight. He's had to work, and he's in tremendous condition. He's doing his job.
Yeah, and he's not sitting back. You know, he's giving Puello a lot of work, and you know, doing that kind of pressure is allowing him not to get hit as much as he would have gotten hit if he didn't do that.
You're darn right about that. If he would have laid out and he'd given him much more distance, he could have paid a bigger price, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Final seconds of this fight. Body shot again by Puello.
Yeah.
Just to take that with you.
Yeah, exactly.
You see,
exactly.
Owens as if he needed that.
Yeah.
Good work there. Yeah, Harvey Dock is sweating. Someone's warming up in there, and Alberto Puello with an outstanding U.S. debut, just winning, we believe, every single round from VeShawn Owens. Back here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, David Morrell moving from Cuba, moving up here to Minneapolis, making a name for himself, and is very popular up here. Again, a lot of local fighters here on this card tonight. Morrell leading things off. VeShawn Owens here in Minnesota as well, but he was up against it tonight. Not a lot of drama, but let's get the decision from Miguel Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Lynn Carter saw it 98-92. Judge Tim Cheatham sees it 100-90, and Judge Tim Taggart Sr. sees it 99-91. All three in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. And still undefeated, Alberto La Avispa Puello.
Well, VeShawn Owens took a couple of rounds here and there from the judges, did everything he could, takes a bow as well because he gave a great effort, but Alberto Puello now 20-0, and the world at 140 pounds had better start paying attention